Hello, everyone, and welcome to the New Creators Podcast. My name is Micah.
I'm Sean.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Perrin.
And I'm new here.
This is Corbin. This is Perrin's brother. We all know Perrin. He's been on the podcast. What is this? This is your
my
third time now, right?
Third appearance.
Awesome.
He's still trying to take our
Okay.
jobs, so
Yeah. So this is my brother Corbin.
What was your quote? What was your quote from that one episode? You're like, I'm gonna take your job. I'm coming for your bones.
Something like that, yeah.
I'll steal your bones. That was
Perrin's
Yes.
very bone hungry these days.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of
Bone
bones that you
hungry.
like prefer?
Yeah. Just whatever I can get my hands on, you know. I'm a scavenger. I'm like a very carnivorous raccoon.
I feel like I would prefer phalanges.
You want to eat people's fingers? Okay, all right.
Just the bones.
Oh,
Hi,
right.
I'm Corbin. I'm Perrin's older brother.
In case you couldn't tell.
Yeah, I'm 2 years older and still about a half-inch taller.
Yeah.
So things are going pretty well, I think.
Awesome. Well, welcome again. Welcome all guests to the New Creators. We hope you enjoy your time on the podcast. So at the beginning of each episode, we kind of go through and we just look at previous reception to the podcast and any like other review / wrap up things that we've got. So let's see here. Let's check out some analytics from the previous episode, which was the generative art episode. Quite a good episode. Yeah. Okay. So we got a good 25 plays on that episode. Very nice. Yeah, we had a lot of fun with Scratcher Judah Brown on that episode. Had a lot of fun talking about AI and implications and stuff like that. And we're also officially rated 5 stars on Spotify now, which is fun.
Very cool.
Hey.
So thanks to everyone who's rating us on Spotify.
Well deserved. I think I left a rating on Apple Podcasts. I think I don't know if it shows up or if
I
you
was
even
gonna say
have the
I don't
data
even
from there.
know. I have the data from there, but I never log into Podcast Connect, which is like Apple's podcast portal. So I'm like, let's see if I can get in there.
Yeah.
I'm rarely in Podcast Connect.
There's
so
a good
that
chance
would
I'm like the
explain why.
only new creators stan on Apple Podcasts out there.
We've got a few.
Oh,
I was
there's
trying to
another
s- I
review.
was trying
There's
to
one other
remember.
review aside from me on here. 3 ratings,
Nice,
all
okay.
5
Oh,
stars.
fun.
I think that was Tim Cook. Cause I have called him out a few times. So
That is true. You did say Tim Cook. I wanted to see. We have actually, the majority of our listeners listen on Apple Podcasts,
Nice.
which is that's an interesting stat. 36.7% of all listeners are on Apple Podcasts, which is interesting. It's almost an even split between Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Yeah, that's interesting. Huh. Well, anyway, let's go through. Just take a look at some stuff we've been doing. Sean, what have you been working on lately?
I need to find my stuff first. You can tell I'm not being prepared. Right, I need to search it up. Hold up.
All good.
Don't worry.
Google that.
Flying by the seat of my pants here. I'm completely fine. Here
I'll tell you
we
what,
go.
Ethan. Oh, no, Sean found it.
No, it's
Sean
fine.
found it.
We're good. We're good. You know, as you can see,
Alright,
I'm
go
very
ahead.
professional. I've got a few things actually. So, firstly, since I wasn't able to plug it in the last episode, since I wasn't here, I'm working on the TNC waste of account. So yeah, I've been using that, trying to get us some more listeners through that platform. As we've mentioned,
Gotta get the clout.
of course.
Gotta get clout.
Well, I mean, if I don't have clout, do I even exist? Kind of question.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna.
That's
plug it.
what Rene Descartes said. You know, I clout, therefore I am.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, if a clout falls in the forest.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
true. That
Doesn't
is
even
true.
make a sound.
Or
Indeed.
in the famous words,
Speaking
my
of-
alt account, all reality. Do I even exist if I don't have clout?
Yeah.
This
Speaking
is
of
true.
clout on
this is true.
waste of money, I think I currently have the second top trending post of the week. And it's,
Wait, you do? That's right.
yeah, right now.
You're like a celebrity.
Man.
Of,
You'd think
wait, of
with
the
the
week or the month?
Of the week, not of the month. I got
Hold on, let
16
me go
likes
into the.
for saying
site.
the past tense of William Shakespeare may be would it was Shakespeare, but the opposite of
Oh.
William Shakespeare is won't am not static
Yeah.
spoon.
That post, I'm not gonna lie, that's like one of the funniest things I've seen in like 10 years.
This is the
that is
kind of random, stupid stuff that comes into my brain every like evening.
I literally saw that.
49 p.m.
So I just opened up the website, and the first thing I see is you, Micah, reposting an image of a clock with beans inside of it.
I love
and
the
saying
part where
it's
the clock
beaning
said
time.
It's beaning time.
It's beaning time.
Oh my god! What age are you again?
Oh boy. Yeah, but Perrin's post literally the one about William Shakespeare. I was literally like, I was in a public space and like in a study room, and I like actually like collapsed on the floor, like dying laughing, and it was quite embarrassing but quite funny.
Man, I am aware of the effect I have on Micah.
It is quite a funny post. I very much am looking forward to further. And you know what? That even fits in this episode. You know, it's a creative aspect. Comedy is content creation.
It is. I guess you
argue.
could say.
We're doing the content creation just now, so
yeah.
The real content creation was the friends we made along the way.
Man,
true. That is
Corbin's
true.
right. Corbin's right. All right, Sean. What else have you been working on?
So I've also been working on a dead account rebrand. Don't worry, it's not actually about rebranding dead people or something. Basically, as someone who has been on the website Scratch for too long, honestly, about 8 years now, I have quite a lot of dead alt accounts. But unlike most people, all my alt accounts have the name Data in them. I've never went by anything else. So I've had old accounts called Data Test and Data Remix. I think you can probably guess what I use them for. I also had other accounts. So I have a current alt account called Data 2 as my secondary account. But some of you people there who might be stans, back in the olden days, may remember
data
two
enthusiasts.
accounts. The data enthusiasts out there, the two of them. Data 3 and Data 4 also existed at a time, and then I deleted.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then I deleted both of them because I never used them. But so I think it was actually in this server that we're actually recording just now. I think Perrin said something about, hey, you should rebrand all of Sean's dead accounts or something, and I'm like, well, yeah, you. And I was like, well, you said that to someone else, but what if I just take that idea and do it anyway?
Yeah.
We love idea plagiarism.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not plagiarism if I do it first. So.
It's also not plagiarism because it's your accounts, and you can rebrand them how you see fit.
Exactly. So that's what I'm working on as well. So hopefully that'll be out, because I think I've shared it a few times. Basically, all I've done is I've taken my current logo, which is like, I hope people know what it looks like. But basically, it's like, it's rectangles in the shape of a D, very creative. But anyway. So, basically what I've done is I've taken one part of a D, made it look like just a square, and then put letters and numbers in them. Very creative as always. I swear it's more impressive than that.
It does look good. It's very sleek.
It's a good looking rebrand. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you for stroking my ego. I needed that. So the last thing also, I'll let Perrin obviously kind of elaborate on this, of course, because he's the host.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to be judging Brand Battle 5. Because I've been judging all the other ones, so why not the fifth one as well?
Yeah.
But that's what I've been working on anyway.
Oh, fun. Well, since we're already on Brand Battle 5, Perrin, you want to elaborate on some stuff you've been doing?
So I'm going to be hosting the next iteration of Brand Battle after I narrowly won Brand Battle 4, which is such a good time. But I'm going to be in charge of Brand Battle 5. Sign-ups are going to come out hopefully Friday, February 3rd is the tentative date I'm sticking with. Ideally, I'll get an info project out sometime between now and then. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, plenty of people join. And
now, do you want to elaborate a bit about like what Brand Battle is for people who are listening to the podcast who don't know what that is?
Yeah, so Brand Battle is a multi-stage branding design contest where it's hosted on Scratch, so Scratch users are going to be competing against each other, and given a prompt for a company or like a theme, and they have to center a branding design around it, and they are paired up with another user, and they have to compete against that user, and whoever has the better entry moves on to the next round of the contest until there's one victor at the end after a few rounds. So very excited to be the host. Very excited to see what you guys.
I think I participated in like one brand battle competition, but I like failed in like the first round because I put like no effort into it. Yeah, but it's a cool competition. Some of the stuff, some of the entries are like quite impressive for like these like very young.
Brand Battle 4.
Most of the entries are. Awesome.
Brand Battle 4, in terms of like average entry quality, was the best we've had so far. I think.
Yeah, it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was very
as the
tight
guy
battle
who's
once we got to,
as
like,
the guy who's
final
judged. Mm-hmm. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you can go ahead. I was done.
Fine. Okay. As someone who's judged all of them so far, I'd definitely say Brand Battle 4 was really exceptional quality, even from like the first round. All of them were really good. So hopefully Brand Battle 5 is even better.
absolutely. Ethan, you're up next.
I am up next.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yes, you are. Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. So I guess what I've been doing is the other day someone asked me to build a website and they're gonna pay me for it. So
Nice.
I guess I'm working on that.
How did that come about? Like, was it like a mutual friend connection or something like that, or was it like just like a cold email or something?
They actually filled out my contact form on my website.
Nice.
Don't ask me how they, whatever. But it turned out to be some legit lady from like New York or something wanting a portfolio website.
Nice. Okay. Awesome.
So building that for her, and then the other thing is I'm gonna be remixing a song with Judah. That the last guy that was on the podcast.
Yeah, he replaced me.
So-
He replaced me and suddenly didn't have a Scottish accent.
Man,
that is true. It
Yeah.
was not the same without you.
Yeah, no
A tragic
Scottishness.
loss, to be sure.
Yeah.
I've not been up to much. I've been up to basically
Yeah.
just school, getting back into the school vibe. I have been. Didn't have this in the document, but I've been working a little bit more on Waste of Mobile, the mobile app for Waste of Money, and been doing some UI changes and stuff like that. Again, if you follow me on Waste of, then you've probably seen it already. But I had like replaced the more antiquated the hamburger menu with like a bottom tabs layout, which is like generally considered more modern. Also, I think it's like kind of standard now for most other Google apps. So I think it looks a lot better, and it's also for some reason like multiple times faster. So I'm experimenting with multiple things that will make the app better, faster, more features. In-app commenting is coming soon, lots of stuff like that. But again, just kind of trying to balance that kind of stuff out with school and work and whatnot. So yeah.
Might I just say, it is really good looking. I really like what you've done with the bottom navigation and everything. It looks really nice.
yeah, I haven't been
Thank
able to
you.
use
Yeah.
the app just because you don't put it on the app.
Get
store.
an Android.
Get an Android.
But I will say,
If there's one thing you can learn from the podcast, it is that we love Android devices, and so
Yeah.
we will push the Android agenda
well, that's
as much as
what I
humanly
was gonna
possible.
say.
You need to get like
before
a
I
chant
was
going or something.
So rudely interrupted. was
Get
that-
an Android.
Well-
I'm telling you, I will stop interrupting you if you get an Android.
Well, I haven't been able to use the
Interrupting
app.
parents my job.
Yeah. Well, I
I'm
haven't.
taking over it. Get an Android.
Well, I haven't been able to use the app from the screenshots I have seen. It looks very well done and well made.
And see, if you had an Android,
Thank
you would be
you.
able. You wouldn't have to use screenshots. You'd be able to use it yourself.
Well,
You're not wrong. Sean's not wrong.
man, I
He
can't
really
believe
isn't.
you invite me on my
Like,
show
that's-
on this
that's-
show just to bully me, SMH.
That's the real reason we invited
I thought
we invited you and Corbin just to
Man.
bully y'all. That's
I mean, the
that's
reason
only
I
goal.
suggested we have Corbin was just so I could bully him.
Well, sorry, it looks like the bullying is getting bullied.
Yeah.
How are the
words.
turntables?
counter-bullied.
How are the turntables?
I'm like surprised Pikachu face. Like, oh, Perrin's here to bully me. What? Not a guest.
I've never done that before, SMH.
Oh no.
Oh
no.
boy.
Man. Anyway.
Well, Corbin, you're up. So what have you been working on?
So I don't do graphic design, but I do a slightly different variant of design. Currently mechanical design. So I've been at some nerd school doing nerd things. Namely, I've been working on this project that's taken 3/4 of a school year, and in the last fourth, where me and 8 other people are trying to design a rover that would be able to drive on the moon. And so what I've been up to is learning how to use a very powerful and ugly software package to simulate whether or not our rover will fall apart if we drop it a few inches.
Nice.
Nice.
That sounds super interesting.
It's fun. We can get into more about the software, but
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a lot of math, a lot of just trying to figure out how to edit a material, and figure out what the material would be like when it's at -400 degrees Fahrenheit.
Good grief.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
very
literal,
fun project, very fun
literal
project.
rocket science is what you're doing.
Wait, was
basically.
that 400
suppose,
Fahrenheit?
I
I
suppose.
need to change that to Celsius. Hold on.
Yeah. So
Negative
he is a,
250.
That's
Imagine
204.
using Celsius.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine using
204.
Fahrenheit, nerd.
Okay, fine. 20 to 50 Kelvin.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
You wanna
Kelvin?
play
Oh, we're
games.
using Kelvin.
Kelvin.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Kelvin's
Sorry,
acceptable.
sorry.
I'll
I
accept
like how
Kelvin.
everyone else here's just been talking about random stuff, and he's actually really cool, impressive stuff. Anyway,
No, that
So
is
at
actually
least
really cool, and
Fahrenheit
we're gonna
is an
spend the
actual
majority.
good measurement for how cold things are.
It was the first
Yeah.
one I thought, man. I was
Yeah.
just
At
looking
least
at
with,
a
like,
data sheet
weather.
that used Fahrenheit. 400's a nice round number.
it is.
That is very nice. Well, we will definitely come back to that. Like Corbin said, we're gonna spend the majority of this episode. That's our primary topic. Is basically everything that Corbin does. So no pressure there. But yeah. So, but before we get there, we're gonna go ahead and talk about some interesting stuff we've seen in the creator space or just the tech space in general. So we've got 2 major things. Sean, I think you wanted to talk about the first one, right?
Yeah, I added it. So, I read about this a few days ago. Basically, Apple is re-releasing the full-sized HomePod. I think it was 2 years ago they originally released it for, I think it was like $329 or something. Then it got I don't actually know the reason Apple gave for like discontinuing it initially. I don't know if it was just because it wasn't selling well or whatever, but it came back now, and the only real difference I think is mainly it's got Matter integration, which Matter is kind of like a new standard for like smart home devices. It's meant to make it easier to link them all together, kind of thing. And I think it's got like a slightly bigger screen on like the top thing, because like has that like animated screen on the top. I think that's slightly bigger, and it's also cheaper this time around as well. So,
Nice.
like I say, I mean, I think it's good that Apple at least has now got a proper competing smart speaker, because I mean, up until this point they've only had the mini one, and they've not had a proper sized one like Alexa or Google has. So hopefully this time around the HomePod's a bit better.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know anyone who owns a HomePod. I know a lot of
True.
Apple stands, but
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who owns a HomePod.
We
So I think in general,
at
the
our
HomePod is
house,
just kind of
we
a
are very
failure.
firmly entrenched into the Apple ecosystem. We don't own a HomePod, like a full size one, but we do have 2 HomePod minis on top of our fridge.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Then
they're
you're the
not
first people
that
I've ever met
great.
that have one.
They're okay. They're really not that great. Like
Apple's like big.
just because
like,
Siri,
the big thing-
Siri isn't super responsive mostly.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing that I don't understand, because like and also like the price difference. Like the HomePod minis are like not super cheap, especially when compared to like
Yeah, how much is the Home?
Google Home Mini, which is like a ridiculously good
Yeah.
smart speaker with like pretty dang good sound, and you can get it like on sale a lot of the time for
Yeah.
like 30
I will
bucks.
say-
I've got
say-
the original full size Google Home, like the original one when it came out. And
Yeah, okay.
It's so for me at least, the sound's pretty good. And well, obviously it's Google Assistant, so I mean, Google Assistant is one of the better AI assistants out there. With anytime I've used Siri, it's just it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of like sound quality, it is really good. It's a really good speaker, and when you have like multiple of them, they're able to do like stereo, and they do a good job like making sure like it'll adapt to the acoustics of the room, which is really cool. I don't know if
It's
they
nine-
do that for other devices, but they definitely are really good speakers. The problem is you kind of have to use Siri to use them, and Siri isn't super reliable. It won't always like do exactly what you want, or sometimes it'll
For price
say
comparison.
it'll
Yeah,
say
it's-
it can't connect to the internet, even though the internet's working fine or whatever. But it is
For price
they're fine.
comparison, for price comparison, the HomePod Mini is twice the price of the Google Home Mini, or I guess it's called the Nest Mini now.
Yeah, I don't know why
yeah.
it's called Nest, to be honest, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand that rebrand anyway, but that's a whole different topic. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is. I think interesting. The Matter, like you mentioned, the Matter integration. Like it's interesting that Matter is becoming such a big player in the smart home space, and I'm really excited about that because personally, like that's one of their things. Like the fact that they're trying to fix like smart device setup and compatibility. Like those are like my two big problems with like smart home stuff, and the fact that there's now like a unified protocol for that is just, I think it's excellent.
Yeah, fingers crossed it actually like catches on. That's the big thing. It's a good protocol, and there's been protocols before it, but none of them have caught on. But with Matter, a lot of people are saying that this should be hopefully finally be a proper one that'll catch on, and everyone will start integrating it into their smart speakers. So who knows? Maybe you can use like the. Did Samsung ever release that Bixby speaker? Like it looked like a
I
a
hope not.
barbecue. You hope not. I hope they
not.
did, because I can make fun of it. Come on, you want
It's a fair point. It's a fair point.
And also, just for price comparison here, it's £99 in the UK, and I think like the Mini, I've seen the Mini for like 29 quid on like deals and everything. Like it's
I would say,
just-
yeah. The problem is Apple never puts any of their stuff on sale, and Google puts their stuff on sale all the time.
Yeah,
So
and,
like,
arguably
I've
the Google
literally
stuff's better.
seen, yeah.
like at least all round. And like I don't know if this is still a thing, but I do remember like when the first HomePods came out, it didn't support Spotify, like the biggest streaming service.
Yeah.
Like I get obviously it would
haven't
have
heard anything
Apple
about
Music
that.
integration. Yeah, like I say, I don't know if that's still the case now, but I do remember initially that when it first came out, there was no support for any other music streaming service other than Apple Music. And the problem is like, yeah, that works for people who, have Apple products through and through. But for people like me who own, say, like I own a Samsung for my phone, my PC's a Windows PC, my laptop's a Chromebook, my tablet is an iPad. I need something that works with every operating system. And every thing. So obviously, like for me, Spotify is the only streaming service that I found works on everything I own. The problem is then I couldn't buy a HomePod even if I wanted to, because it didn't support Spotify. So for a lot of people, it's just not viable.
From what I'm seeing is you can play Spotify on the HomePod technically. You just have to AirPlay it over because Spotify
right.
supports AirPlay on iDevices, but you can't say like, "Hey Siri,
Yeah.
play this on Spotify."
For people who don't have like any Google like smart speakers and that, basically you can choose between all the streaming services pretty much. Like even when
Minus
you first,
Apple Music, of course.
Minus Apple Music, but that's because of Apple more, really, to be fair. But I think now there is a way to do it. Like Google's kind of got a workaround to make it work. Because I had like a free trial of Apple Music, and I was able to get it to work. So I think it's one of those things where they've kind of like retroactively fixed it, but it's not perfect. But anyway, but most other streaming services have actually got proper integrations. So like when I first set up my Google Home, one of the things it asks you is what streaming service would you like to use, and obviously Spotify is there. You've got YouTube Music, you've got Deezer, you've got all the other ones as well. and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Same with like also if you have like if you want to ask your smart the Google Home to also like play something on your TV, it will also like give you options to choose between like Netflix and YouTube and
I've
stuff
never
like
heard
that.
of
Whereas
Deezer in my entire life.
You've never heard of Deezer?
Never heard of Deezer.
It's just imagine Spotify but with less users, and it has like an extra tier which has like the hi-fi like option. Basically,
Okay.
that's Deezer. It's
And then all the album
Interesting.
covers are just 4 guys standing equally spaced apart.
Background.
Deezer Weezer. Deezer Weezer.
It'd be really funny if they
Is
had a
Weezer
tier.
available on Deezer?
I need
I'm
to
sure
check
it
now. I'm
is.
going to Deezer.
It'd be really
Deezer,
funny
here we go.
if they. It'd be really funny if they had a section, like a tier where you could pay money to only have Weezer on Deezer.
But yeah.
My word.
Wait, I need to find this now. Do I have an account with them? I think I did have an account originally.
Here, you can
It's
search.
let
You can
me
search. They have it. They have it.
Maybe
They have
that's
it.
why. Okay, maybe that's why I haven't heard
That's
of it. 'Cause
amazing.
It's
This
French.
is amazing. Deezer Premium, 11 quid a month. Are you mad?
That accent
Your
kills me,
Scottish
and
is
just
showing.
in certain phrases, that just kills me.
I mean, if I started saying Scottish slang, then it's all over, kind of thing.
Oh my word! I think that'd be hilarious. You should definitely.
Like Hawkeye the new, like
Can you do what my
See, I
mom
don't
does
even know
with her
what you just said,
Oklahoma
but okay.
accent and like ham it up on purpose to make it completely indecipherable? Because that's what my mom can do with her. She can slip into her Oklahoma accent at any time, and it
is used as a threat.
she weaponizes it for sure. That's how
That's
she
hilarious.
kept me and my siblings in check. If we were ever in public, is if we were misbehaving, she would like whip out the Oklahoma accent. It was terrifying.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you have a Scottish person start yelling at you, it's very menacing. If you're not
It's
Scottish,
over for you.
just give up already.
How fun. Oh gosh. Well, the other thing we have on here is Google panicking over ChatGPT, which I think we talked about a little bit in the last episode. But also it's kind of interesting.
I'm quite surprised they're panicking. I thought they had such powerful AI. I mean, most of the big tech companies are the ones that kind of have the best AI in general, like Google Assistant and DeepThink. Is it DeepThink or DeepMind? I always forget.
I think it's DeepThink. I'm pretty sure. Wait, is it Deep?
I keep thinking it's DeepMind.
I think
It is DeepMind.
It is DeepMind. You're right.
Yeah, DeepMind.com. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was quite surprised they got. I mean, I'm not saying that GTP isn't impressive, but I thought Google would be kind of looking at it as like that's child's play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've noticed that. But I've noticed that like DeepMind hasn't put out anything that's like consumer facing yet. Like they've put out a lot of stuff for like businesses and stuff like that, but they haven't put out anything that's like consumer facing. And OpenAI has put out like like GPT-2 and like certain GPT-3 models and as well as like ChatGPT. And they've put out like a lot of consumer facing stuff. And I think Google just doesn't think they're ready for that, which I think is kind of why they're panicking. So anyway, they're releasing a bunch of projects. The Verge reports more than 20 projects that are all powered by artificial intelligence in some way, shape, or form. So it almost seems like they don't even have anything like specifically like big that they want to launch in the AI space, but they're launching all these small AI projects just to tell people like, hey, like we are not lagging behind.
Yeah. How many do you think is going to hit the Google graveyard?
Oh, I think a significant amount. And I feel like anything that they release at like Google I/O has like a high probability of eventually dying out.
Was Stadia announced at I/O?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, there you go. I shut down this month, so I mean, there you go. The proof's in the pudding there.
Yeah. Yeah. But so who knows? We'll see. We don't know exactly what the details of those 20 or so apps that they're releasing are going to be, but we will soon enough see.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got, what do we have here? Is this another, Corbin, did you put this in?
Yeah, so I one thing I did see
was another video output by Boston Dynamics. They make a lot of very advanced legged robots. And so every so often they'll put a new demo video out on their YouTube channel of Atlas, their humanoid robot. But they did another one recently that I thought was really, really fascinating. At this point, they've got so good at walking that they need a new challenge, and it's been doing parkour for I think a few years now. But now it's like throwing bags. They gave it hands. It can grab things. It can roll. It can like do backflips with twists. The thing is more athletic than I'll ever be, but I still think it's a very kind of interesting demo video.
Yeah, I'm watching it now. That's crazy. Atlas is one of the projects like the I thought like Spot the dog was an excellent was like a really interesting, excellent robot, but Atlas is crazy. Like you said, the fact that it can do like spinning backflips and stuff.
Just about everything Boston Dynamics does is incredible. It like blows my mind how advanced the stuff they do is with their robots.
Oh yeah,
it's insane.
And like the more you get into it, like the more you understand like some of the engineering behind it, it doesn't get any easier to comprehend, honestly.
Yeah, I'm watching it just now myself, and it's really impressive, but also really scary.
Oh yeah,
there's that backflip at the end. It doesn't look real though. Like I can see why people think this stuff is like edited because it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like again. I'm just watching. I'm just kind of enamored by it, and also terrified at the same time.
Have you all seen
so as someone
the Michael Reeves video where he bought a Spot, a robot dog, and he modified it so it could pee beer into a cup, which is
Yes,
certified
I've seen
Michael
parts
Reeves
of that.
moments.
Yeah.
So good.
My word. I love the stuff he makes, but I'm so hesitant to watch it just because the sheer amount of profanity that he uses. It's like every other word is like an F-bomb, and I'm like, I can't deal with this.
That's fair enough, I suppose.
Micah's just gonna like release a channel which is just like edited videos of Michael Reeves. And it's just every like
Oh god,
seconds.
that's the thing though. If you take a Michael Reeves video and edit it down, you're
It's
gonna
gonna be silent,
end up with like
basically.
half the runtime. Yeah, it's gonna be like half the runtime.
Well, no.
you
I
just
don't-
pick some
I don't mean
comedic
like
noise.
cut, but I mean like just like the beeps.
Just put like a
Oh,
Oh, like
sound-
bleeped,
yeah.
like a
Yeah.
Not
censor.
even like bleep.
Dude,
Not
that-
even like bleep it. It's gotta be some goofy. Like the Roblox.
Yeah, I was gonna
sound.
say-
See, I couldn't do that manually though. I should create like a some sort of bot that can go through and detect where all of his F-bombs are and then replace them with a soundbite. That'd be hilarious. It'd be complicated and not a good use of my time, but
Yeah.
funny nonetheless.
The
Maybe
best
that's one of
ideas
Google's
are wastes
projects
of
they're
time.
releasing.
That's a good. That's probably what it is. Yep, probably so.
They watched
Google's
one
new
Michael
project.
Reeves video, and we're just like, right, we need to get an AI that can like mute all those F-bombs.
It amazes me that he still manages to get like brand deals.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The stuff
Hey,
does
he
is insane.
tasers
He's
people
such
as
a
well,
smart
and he gets
guy.
away with
It's
it, so-
insane.
Yeah, I mean, with
This
the
is
views
true.
he has, like almost any advertiser would want to get that out in front of people. But
Yeah.
it's like that's probably the only thing keeping him in the game at all is the fact he
Yeah.
has 15 million views on the robot dog video.
Yeah. I mean, the stuff he
Yeah.
makes is incredibly smart
Oh,
and
yeah,
incredibly
yeah.
impressive. Especially because it's entirely homemade too. Like he does all the coding. He puts
Yeah.
basically everything in the video. He does entirely by himself. Even like the graphics he does in his videos. He's such a good creator.
Yes, he is.
Really funny too. Even outside of the
Well,
profanity.
we are on to the main topic. So, Corbin, this is all you. Why don't you explain? You're going to talk to us a
beans.
little bit about that software that you use.
Right. So, a little more background on me. So, I am majoring in aerospace engineering, but I'm also studying robotics engineering. But in some of the aerospace and some of the robotics projects too, you often just need to make sure if a part breaks or not, because it's a little bit cheaper to program a computer to check if your plane explodes than to actually build a plane and have it explode. So instead of using things like, I don't know, what do graphic designers use to design logos?
Affinity.
I forgot.
If you're
Affinity.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
we all use Affinity, but also like Illustrator
Adobe,
and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Engineers have to use, also very, very specialized software to do just about everything. So I don't know. I have one screenshot of the ugliest, but I might ramp it up. I'll start with a slightly less ugly program.
I know you do. You know at least SolidWorks and Fusion 360, right? Those are the ones I know.
Yes,
you
I
use.
know SolidWorks. So those two are both called CAD programs, like computer aided design. So it is, I guess the closest engineering equivalent to like something like Affinity, except you are designing these three-dimensional shapes, and usually they're really like well mathematically defined.
It's like Blender for engineers.
Blender for engineers, yeah, where you can like specify that, okay, this is exactly a 30-degree angle. This thing is exactly 20 millimeters apart from this thing. This line is perfectly like on the edge of this circle, stuff like that. So I'm going to try to show, I'm just saving images of these programs to try to get a taste of what the UI looks like. Because that's the thing about these engineering softwares is often the more powerful they are, the harder it is to tell the computer to do the thing you want it to do. So on the lower end, it's this program called Fusion 360, which is, you can make all these fun shapes with. That's usually what I use to design my things because it's easy to use and I can go quickly and I have all my keyboard shortcuts in there. And its UI looks something like, where'd it go? Something like this. So the thing in the middle is just, I did not make this. This is just a thing. Like on the top, you have some nice looking icons that can do different tools, like
Nice looking.
That's not bad.
Yeah, this one's really not too bad. You have some like buttons up on the top to like make new shapes or combine new shapes or move one shape somewhere else, because you might not want your square to be here, you want it to be elsewhere. And then on the side, there's like this little tree of items. That's all the different stuff you make. And then every so often a new little window will pop up for editing like the current action you're doing. So the thing they're showing now is taking a flat shape and pulling it into 3D. So there's like a little window that pops up. And then on the bottom, there's also like other stuff. But so that's kind of at the lower end. Like that's probably the nicest.
You can kind of see like
any UI.
You can kind of see all the same basic features that you would have in like Affinity, just for 3D. Like you've got, in terms of setup, you've got what kind of looks like layers. You've got a menu for the stuff that's selected and how it moves and relates to the other stuff. It's in like,
and you've got like a point tool, and you got like shape tools.
Yeah, you kind of
got like an
actually,
insert tool.
The layout reminds me. So I've got like a higher education and administration and IT, and the top part, like the UI, like the bit where you have like the create, modify, and construct stuff, it looks almost like the ribbon design in like Microsoft Office.
That's what I was gonna say too.
I've got to say that's what, like, as someone who works in Office a lot, it reminds me very much of that. So for me, I feel like I can at least, while I don't understand how to do the 3D modeling part, I can at least understand how to get myself around to the different buttons if I knew what they did.
Right. It's really not too terrible. This one I just kind of started from scratch and just like opened this software one day and tried figuring it out. I got pretty far on my own, so it's really not that bad. UI wise, I'm trying to find the next one.
I was about to say it looks significantly less complicated than Blender is, and
Yeah.
Blender's
I've used
to work
Blender
with.
before, and it's just way too complicated for my brain to process. Whereas
I was gonna say I know how to use like the first and like third tabs of Blender, which is like the shading and modeling, and that's like all I can do before I get overwhelmed.
I can barely get past the loading screen and understand it. Like,
so I guess that's Fusion 360.
I was gonna say, that looks
so
like,
this
that looks
is
like Office again, to be honest. The top part,
right.
It looks like there's like Microsoft Office ribbon design again.
Right. It is pretty similar. This one. So this second slightly more advanced CAD software is called SolidWorks. It's kind of the industry standard. Just about every engineer that does anything engineering probably knows it at some point. It's more expensive, and you can get like certified in it.
So Illustrator basically, but for engineers.
Sure, I don't know. Yeah, I guess. It is definitely harder to use. There are more buttons and more sidebars. Often a lot of buttons are not where you want them to be. Like there are entire tools that you just have to search for because they're not really on any of the menus. There's all sorts of more settings. Every time you click something, 10 more things show up. It's very, very hard to navigate. You also have these like little tabs here, which is something I guess Fusion has. And towards the top, you have all these different tabs that do different things. But everything is like a tab in a window in another window. If you want to do a thing, like if you want to pull a shape into reality, like make a square into a solid cube, that's one tool. But then if you want to cut a square out of a solid cube, that's now a different tool. Stuff like that. It's just a little bit more disorienting. But it is still more powerful. There are more things you can do with it than with Fusion 360. You can do some simulation, which is nice and very helpful. Again, it's cheaper to simulate bending a part than to actually bend it and break it, and now you have to machine another one for $1,000.
Sure.
Yeah. But I'll try to find... I think I actually have another one. This third one is the one I've been working with a lot. It's something I was doing earlier today, right before we started recording. This is a thing called ANSYS. ANSYS is more for simulation. It's less like you would design your
every
parts.
single one of these look like Microsoft Office?
I mean, a lot of these are built.
Microsoft kind of encouraged that in their
True.
widget
But still,
system.
it's kind of nuts to see like so many different programs copy it. Anyway, sorry. keep on.
I do not like this.
No, it is not for the faint of heart. You still have kind of similar trees on the left-hand side to Fusion 360 and SolidWorks, but they're a little more confusing. There's in like the bottom left corner is where you edit a lot of the stuff, which seems kind of unintuitive to me. There can be things on the bottom, things on the top. There's more windows. There's buttons inside buttons. Some drop-down menus actually drop down. Some of them kind of don't. It seems like every single button has a different styling. In a different new way to be confusing and spiteful, it seems.
That looks like a nightmare.
It does.
Yeah.
I would not want to use that program.
I don't know how much it would cost to use. I don't know what their licenses look like.
Do you get it for free?
But I'll say it. I do as a WPI student, which means I probably pay in my very large tuition. So I get to use it. Two of these, the latter two, also don't run on Mac OS at all. I don't think they even run on Linux. I think they run on Windows exclusively, which can be annoying sometimes.
So how do you... I assume you use a Mac then. What do you use? Do you have to virtualize it, or do you
I can. There are like servers I could connect to and do remote desktop and then get the program on the desktop and then use it from there. Usually what I'll just do is go to a computer lab that has the programs and just use that computer.
I see.
Just make sure to always carry a thumb drive with me to take data on and off. But yeah, it certainly is interesting. I'm trying to make this somewhat podcast interesting. This is all visual stuff. Now, some of them, they do have nice colors. That's the benefit of when you get to simulate things. It's like you spend an hour or so setting up the problem, telling the computer exactly what you want it to do, and then it could sit there. I have a simulation that's running currently in a computer in one of the lab buildings, and it'll take a few hours to do all the math. It's just kind of sitting there chugging away. But at the end, when I come back, I'll get a thing that has a bunch of nice colors on it, and so that's kind of the reward. That's where all the dopamine comes back. So you do get a little bit of nice things to go with the pain, but it is a long process.
From a UI perspective, I think this is still partially related because this last one, ANSYS, seems to like really have like the exact same ribbon design as Microsoft Office. The main bone I have to pick with the entire like Office tabs design is that there's no like central place to find things.
There is
And like
hold on.
you literally just
Blasphemy.
have like all these different size. You just have like these different sized buttons and drop downs and checkboxes, and like there's no like the reason I like Affinity a lot is because like you have this like central bar and like there's tools, and tools is a concept, and then you have a context bar, which is like where when you have a tool selected, all that tool's settings show up.
Yeah.
And like with the entire like what there's a name for it. What do you call the Office tabs UI?
Ribbon. It's just called
Fabric.
Ribbon.
It's called
Fabric. Yeah.
Oh, Fabric or Ribbon. Yeah, but like that's my whole problem with the UI is because there's no consistent placing of options.
I have
Yeah, and
I have a
that's-
pro tip for that because again, since I'm an admin guy, it's like my job to know how these things work. So with Office, the best thing you can do, assuming you have the newer versions, at the very top in the center of like the title bar, there's a search bar. The
That
search
is
bar
true.
is your best friend because like if you can't find an option, just type in a few keywords and it will come up. Like the amount of times I forget where the page break option is, so you just go into like it's for Word, so you go like into the search bar and just put in the word page break, and then it comes up instantaneously.
You don't just use Control Enter?
How dare you?
I don't know what any of this
It's just
means, but
Control
that's
Enter.
funny.
Wait,
I
Control
don't
Enter.
know how a fight would start over a podcast, but like I feel like it's bound to happen any second.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
I mean,
that-
you
is
just
that
insulted
not
my
the
entire
shortcut?
profession there. So
Yeah, Control Enter is a page break.
You've insulted this man and his entire family.
yeah, I went to college
Apologies,
for years to learn all this.
I do
and you
hope-
just brought
I do
all
hope
crumbling
that it
down.
is- I do hope that will speed up your workflow in the future.
I mean, I'm
Hopefully.
still like learning really weird shortcuts in Affinity that I don't know how I completely missed. Like it took me years to realize that Command Option left and right on the arrow keys, it will like adjust the spacing in your text. I never realized that until
Yeah.
like recently. There's still stuff I'm learning about this app. It's
I
insane.
think I mentioned this. I think I've mentioned this before, but you know, like the button where you can like change the opacity of an object.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you could press the circle to change it to change the amount of
noise.
noise. I
Yeah,
did not
I
know
didn't
That's
know
that.
not at
until,
all. Yeah, that's not at all
recently
intuitive.
either. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's interesting. Huh. Now, Corbin, you've got an interesting topic in here. Making art with robots, not AI. Physical hardware robot art is way cooler.
Right,
So, why don't
right.
you elaborate on that?
So I come from a family. I mean, you've seen Perrin in his work. He's very
Hello.
good at graphic design, making things look cool.
He is.
He has some skills on drawing on paper. Like he doodles in his
I'm
notebooks
okay.
a lot, like messing with the concepts.
I got an
Um,
A- in drawing too.
and-
So
Right,
Nice.
right. But like everyone else in our family is also pretty good at doing art. So like we, like one of our older sister paints a lot of the time. The oldest sister is a professional animator of all things.
Wow,
And
okay.
then our youngest sister also like is constantly drawing and is really, really talented at it. And then there's me. I don't have an artistic bone anywhere in my body, and if I did, it'd be the tiny one in my ear, probably. And
it's
so
just
it's
cartilage
like if
in
I'm
there
going
too,
to do
so.
art. No, they're the little levery ones
Oh,
that
yeah,
translate the
yeah,
sound
yeah. I
from
get
your
it.
yeah those guys. Yeah, you get me. Anyway, ear anatomy aside. I'm terrible at drawing. My handwriting is atrocious. Like if you put a piece of a pencil in my hand and a piece of paper in front of me, only bad things will happen.
Oh, same here.
But as an upside, I can math circles around everyone else in the family, and so it's like if I'm going to do art, I might as well do it with a robot. And so this is kind of an abstract topic. I haven't done that much robot art myself. I'm just kind of interested in it. The first thing that came to mind was more of a kinetic sculpture thing. Have you seen that robot? It's just like one of those like industrial arm robots, and on the end of it, it has kind of a squeegee thing.
Wait, have we talked about this on the podcast before?
Have you talked about this on the podcast before?
maybe.
I'm not sure.
Was it he? Okay, maybe it wasn't on the podcast. Maybe it was just like a friend, in real life that I talked to this about that. But it's like the sculpture. Are you talking about the one that like squeegees like this red liquid like
Yeah,
constantly
it's
in?
constantly leaking, I believe, oil. And
I feel like we talked
it's
about this in an
actively
episode previously.
swinging around its pedestal, like squeeging the oil back into itself. And I guess it's a piece on kind of like helplessness or like
Oh, yeah, I do
vanity
remember
or
this
something. But it's still a very, very interesting piece of art. But it's, and
What am I
I
hearing
think it
right
does
now?
speak a lot.
now. Yeah, isn't it like, I don't know if it's
What
the
is
same thing
going
you're
on?
thinking of. Is it like the one where there's oil everywhere, and then it's like trying to clean it up, but then when it
Yeah.
turns away, it
Yes.
gets dirty again. So it's like in a perpetual loop of trying to clean it.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's
Like
the one I'm
it's
thinking of.
it's spreading oil and just leaking out as liquids do, just kind of out in every direction.
Yeah.
And it only has this little squeegee that can only pull in a small amount of oil at a time, and so it's constantly having to swing around in circles, finding like where the oil is leaked the farthest to try to bring it closer. And again, it's this very interesting art piece, but it's 100% a robot, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
And so I do think that, even though I am incapable of drawing anything past maybe a bad stick man with a weird face, I am very interested in this idea of trying to, express actual meaning and express like actual beauty and with a robot. Alternatively, the other thing is just have the robot draw instead of me. Because I'm really bad at this. So my handwriting is absolutely atrocious, but I am currently trying to make a robot that can do handwriting for me. Because it would probably do better.
That's super cool.
Yeah, so the idea is it would be a wind-up automaton, and it would be about the size and shape of a person. So, I mean, it'd be person-shaped. It'd have a head, it'd have a torso, it'd have 2 arms, around the size of one me. And you would wind it up a whole bunch, and then after you're done getting that fun like clicking sound of winding things up, it would just start running. There'd be no electronics, no anything at all, basically clockwork and mechanical, and it would just write. It would like write a letter with the right hand and then shift the paper over kind of like a typewriter with the left, and then just do like a letter after a letter after a letter. And it would have like a little wheel in the back that you could tell it to like which letter to do, but like all mechanically. So you would be able to write like almost any sentence you want. So that's, I guess another thing. It's not necessarily art unless I decide to write poetry with it, I suppose. Or I replace the letters with little doodles. I don't know. I could potentially do that. But something I do really like about robotics as a topic as a whole is often there are just things that humans are very bad at.
Like you.
I mean, ANSYS, yeah, haha. So like ANSYS does math, so humans don't have to, because humans are pretty good at math, very good at inventing math. I don't know how they figured that one out. But they're very, very slow in doing it. And so like some of these simulations that I'm trying to do in ANSYS would take genuinely decades for a person to sit down and do, but then a computer can do it in an hour or two. It's just like often there's robots that can do something better. And so I really like how the creator of the robot would still have to take this problem and break it down and try to figure out like kind of the bare bones of the problem itself, of the thing that the human is bad at, and then construct an entirely new thing that is so optimized for this problem that now it can do it much better than a human. I think that's just kind of a very fun topic as a whole.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
Yeah.
That's actually really cool.
Can I make one request? And that is, if you do figure out a good way to make that a handwriting robot work, can you make a replica for myself? Because I have also got very bad handwriting.
Maybe if you pay me probably $500.
I don't have dollars. I have pounds.
I'll take one.
Does that count?
For some conversion rate, maybe it would.
Okay then, deal.
And I do have one more robot. I guess it's also a robot. But we don't need that much talking on this one. I'm trying to just send in the picture. Do 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 do.
Do you want a drum roll?
It's a
There it is.
robot arm that has a machete, and it is
that
actively
one.
controlled by a plant. So
That
so it is literally
sounds-
just exactly that. There is a much smaller than the other artwork, but a still full capable of motion robot arm holding what is literally just a machete. And I suppose they've hooked up a bunch of electronics to just basically a potted plant, and all the random signals that the potted plant sends out through the electronics is then translated into movement. And what I do like about this one, especially compared to the one that's leaking oil, is the one that's leaking oil is like inside a little room. Like they've built these walls completely around it. I mean, they're all like windows you can see through, or probably like, I don't know, plexiglass, something that won't break. But that's to, one, contain the mess of all the splashing oil that's getting everywhere, but also to protect the people, because this is obviously a pretty dangerous thing. It's this robot arm that weighs 1,000 pounds moving willy-nilly. But my favorite thing about the plant artwork is there is no wall.
It's just
It is
there.
holding a weapon and having a grand old time with it, and there is just seemingly no safety for anyone around you.
Man,
So that is the other piece of robotic art.
they
that
should
I
attach
is
it to like a
quite nice.
They should attach it to like put it on a pedestal and put the pedestal on a Roomba and then set it loose in a crowd of people to make as revenge for all of the like jungle foliage that's been chopped up with machetes by old timey explorers in the movies.
Right. But what the one thing that aggravates me with this plant artwork is the fact that I didn't do it first,
Yeah.
because now I'm gonna have to come up with some other thing to some other stupid robotic artwork that may or may not involve swords. But I'm workshopping ideas.
Excellent. Well, very cool. Well, we are running out of time here, so let's go ahead and move on to the music segment, which is where, of course, every episode we like to go through and we like to just give an overview of music that we're either listening to or creating. So, Ethan, you're up if you've got anything.
I'm up. Yeah, I do have something. Just a song that all of you should go listen to is "Fire Meets Fate" by Ruel.
By Ruel. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Fire Meets Fate by Ruel. What kind of style are we talking about?
So it's more like dubsteppy, like intense trailer music. Really
Gotcha.
nice.
Okay, so okay, gotcha. Interesting.
Very fun.
Alrighty. Sean, what about you?
I'll try and speedrun this. It's the newest Radiohead album that came out in 2016 called The Moon-Shaped Pool. It's basically an album where they took a lot of their old songs that they've been playing in like live performances for ages. One of the songs, the last one's like super old. It was like originally played in like 1995. They never released it. They finally released it on this album, and it is the most devastating thing you've ever heard, but it's also beautiful. Basically, it's like almost like a cleaning of house kind of album where they've got all their old ideas, all the things they've done in the past, and put it all into this one kind of orchestral masterpiece kind of thing. Best
Very cool.
Yeah, and so I'd say the best tracks will be Burn the Witch, Daydreaming, Dex Dark, Present Tense, and True Love Waits.
Nice.
Sounds very cool. I actually got the opportunity to listen to. We have in Memphis, where I'm from, we have this place where it's like it's called like the Memphis Listening Lab, and they've got like a room where they've got like ridiculously high quality speakers, like subwoofers that are like 8 feet tall, and they were playing like a Radiohead album in there, and I went and listened in for a few minutes, and it was some wonky stuff. I don't remember what it was, but it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if I was there, I wouldn't be able to tell you what it was immediately. So,
I'm sure.
I'm a bit of a fan.
Absolutely. What else we got here? All right, and then my chosen artist of choice is King's Kaleidoscope.
Nice.
So they're quite interesting. It's a weird genre.
Yeah.
It's like alt pop rock, but there's a lot of like very weird like polyrhythms, and you have like very deep lyrics, as well
A
as
lot of
like
like
just like some
orchestral
random like
sounds there too.
orchestral
It's
segments.
so good. It's so good. I got Corbin to listen
think,
to
like,
it
Yeah.
recently, too.
I would. The
Yeah, I've
best
been
way I
listening to it a
feel
lot.
like. The best way I feel like you can describe it actually is the sound is almost like the name of their band. It's quite kaleidoscopic. Like it's
Yeah.
very vibrant. It's got a
Yeah.
lot of stuff going on.
No, absolutely. It's really really wonky, but it's
So
super
good.
interesting. I
Wonky.
highly recommend.
That's a great word
Their
for it.
first album I listened to was Zeal,
So-
and it's a
It's their best.
really
I
good
think.
album.
It's so good. Such a good album.
I like Zeal a lot. I like Zeal, so highly recommend them. All right, Perrin, you're up.
All right, so I don't know how I've gone this many appearances, and
Uh,
without
you-
talking about
just-
Bleachers, but
Go ahead.
Bleachers is great. It's the project of Jack Antonoff, who's a really famous pop producer. He's done stuff with Taylor Swift and Sarah Bareilles, Lana Del Rey, but this is a project of his where it's more like 80s pop oriented, and it's really really well done. This album is
Ooh,
really
I like
cool
that.
because it's got a really fun narrative that's built around it, and it does a super great job of like reusing motifs and like certain lyrics in multiple songs across the album. It's super super well done. It tells a really really fun story about like a relationship that like doesn't like two people fall in love and then they break up and then they get back together again later after they've mourned each other, and then they come back and then they have all the same problems all over again. It's a really really well done album. It's such a good album.
Interesting.
Highly
Okay, I'll have
recommend
to listen
it.
to it. Interesting. Alrighty.
Oh yeah, just to add on
And-
before the last person. Sorry, since we're
ahead.
mentioning like good albums, I would definitely say for you, Mike, I think you'll like a Moonshaped Pool because, like I say, it's quite orchestral. It's got a lot of strings.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Gotcha. Okay. No, absolutely. All right, Corbin, take us
Yes, I'm a very big fan of the album Wormland by Detective Byron. I believe Perrin's brought up Wintergotten in the past.
Yes.
Yes. So two of the members of Wintergotten were on this band. This is a band older than Wintergotten. It's very, very Swedish, as you could probably tell by the name. There's a lot of accordions, a lot of glockenspiels, a lot of like music boxes, but also a lot of kind of like 80s style synths.
out. Detective who?
Detective Byron. It's the Swedish word for
Detective
detective
Byron.
agency.
So
But-
Wormland by Detective Byron.
Yes, very fun album.
Okay.
Yeah,
interesting.
if you like accordions and glockenspiels and synths and don't like words, or just want music that just slaps, it's a very, very good album. Let's do it all the time.
Okay.
A lot of funky
Gotcha. Oh,
yeah.
Swedish names in there.
Oh yeah, I would recommend some of the songs, but I don't know how to pronounce any of them. I mean, Life_Universe is pronounceable and also goes so hard.
I see.
It's a very, very fun album.
Okay. Looks interesting. Sounds good. Well, honestly, I wish we had more time because this has been an excellent episode. I've loved this dynamic. This is definitely the most people we've
squeeze
had
in
on the
one more
podcast, and I was a
thing?
little bit worried. Oh, absolutely.
All right, so this thing that me and Corbin do every 2 years, I think I posted about it on Waste of Money, and it did get on trending at some point. Anyway, there's a tradition that me and Corbin have where every couple of years we get giant boxes from U-Haul and we cut out armholes and we go in the yard and we box each other for fun. So we
No, of note is we do not cut out eye holes.
we do not cut
so
out
we
eye
cannot
holes.
see while
we cannot see what we're
this.
doing.
What? That's amazing.
So we box
Oh my
box
word,
we
I love
box
that
box
so
each
much.
other. Ideally, it's on Boxing Day, the day after Christmas. Ideally, this year it was the day after Boxing Day because we wanted to do it at a hangout with the boys. But this time, for the first time since we started doing it, I won. So I'm now 1-2 against
Yeah.
Corbin. But it was
So
such a
I
good time.
can say with a straight face that I am 2-1 in my boxing career.
Because you are. I mean, technically, the first time I just tripped and fell over, and I couldn't get up.
I beat you in the unofficial round 4 anyway.
That's true.
Wouldn't
That's
change
true.
anything.
Top notch. That's a great
I'm
tradition.
looking forward to
Actually,
2
I
years
actually
from
love
now
that.
when I
need to
can
start doing
even
that.
it out for real this time.
Oh, I'm going to be working out every day for these 2 years.
Train-
and then come
training
back
up.
completely yoked.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid, you know, microcosm of me and
Motivation.
Corbin's dynamic is just doing something goofy
Boxing.
and boxing each other for fun.
I love it. I love
Oh yeah.
it.
Forget about
Yeah.
KSI and Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one cares about them.
Yeah, no one cares.
Honestly,
One of
we
these
should
days-
we should sell
One of,
pay-per-view.
one of these days, we
I
should.
think y'all should stream it.
Yeah, we should stream it on Twitch. I was about to say that. We should try it out.
Y'all should absolutely stream
we
it.
did-
If you
didn't-
get live streaming to work on waste of money.
Man,
Yes.
if we
what we
didn't.
can do is
this
me,
isn't a
Ethan, and Micah can be like the commentators, and you guys
Yeah.
can like duke
This
it out.
isn't a
you know.
fully original idea. If you guys are familiar with Good Mythical Morning, which is the Rhett and Link
Yes.
channel
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
have, two of their staff members on their main production crew, they had a little sideshow that was called 10 Feet Tall. I think it's no longer on YouTube, but one of the bits they did, they just did a bunch of wacky antics, and they were really funny. And I'm really disappointed it's off of YouTube now. But one of the things they did was do boxing, and so that's how we got the idea to try it out for ourselves. It was so good. So it was just our idea to do it on Boxing Day for an extra layer of box in the title.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can I also add just one last thing before we wrap up?
Absolutely. Go
So
ahead.
obviously I wasn't here in the last episode, so I want to wish everyone a happy New Year.
Yes.
And also it is Lunar New Year as well today. So
It
happy
is,
Lunar
that's
New
right.
Year as
Yes. Happy all of the New Years.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you're the
Happy
rabbit
year.
now.
Happy Year.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Very bouncy.
Yes.
Well, like I said, this has been a ton of fun. I hope we can absolutely get. Of course, I'm sure Perrin will be back, and I hope we can get Corbin back on at some point because
Hopefully, yeah.
it's been a ton of fun. Definitely
yeah.
I definitely enjoyed the dynamic. It's been a ton of fun. So as again, we'll all reintroduce ourselves. So again, I'm Micah. You can find my stuff at michaelinley.com.
I'm Sean, and you can find me in many places, including my Discord server called Taz Hangout.
I'm Ethan, and you can find me by Googling my name, I guess. Ackman, whatever.
I'm Perrin.
Flex.
You can find me in a million places if you want, as some variant of Perrin or Punchy Gungus.
And I'm Corbin. You can find me in the nearest very nerdy computer lab.
Fair enough. As always, you're welcome to join our Discord server at discord.michaelinley.com. And we have no plans for next episode yet. So who knows when we know when. Every 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, we'll have another episode, and we don't know what's going to happen yet. So, yeah. Thanks for listening. This has been The New Creators. See you in the next one.